Good morning, New Life. Today we are in 2 Samuel chapter 21. This chapter starts out this way. Verse 1 says this: During David's reign, there was a famine for 3 successive years. So David sought the face of the Lord. And so here's the backstory. When the Israelites first conquered the land, God told them, he commanded them, do not make a covenant with any of the people or any of the tribes who live in this land. Your job is to conquer them, not make treaties with them, okay? And so they had a take no prisoners reputation, and that reputation spread very quickly. And so there was a tribe called the Gibeonites who pretended like they were from far off, and they dressed in ragged clothing, and they put on dirty shoes, and they made sure they didn't, take a bath. And then they were pretending to travel through Israel, and they made a treaty with the Israelites. And the Israelites were deceived or tricked into this treaty with the Gibeonites. And then they discovered later that they were actually a local tribe. Well, since they had made the covenant with them, since the Israelites had made the covenant with the Gibeonites, then they chose to honor the covenant because that is what God told them to do. God said, well, I told you not to make treaties. Then you made this treaty. Now that you've made it, you have to honor it. Does that make sense? Okay. So then their enormous error, the Israelites' enormous error with the Gibeonites, is they made an assumption that the Gibeonites were telling them the truth. They didn't take the time to stop and go, hey God, can you show us what we can't see here? Is there anything that we're not seeing? So first thing that they needed to do, but that they failed to do, was that they didn't consult God about the treaty. Okay, let's fast forward quite a while, several years. The second mistake was to make matters worse. When King Saul came along, he killed the Gibeonites, meaning he was dishonoring the covenant that the Israelites had made with the Gibeonites, even though that covenant had been made through deceit. And so, fast forward a little bit further, we're now in the reign of King David, and there's a famine in the land. The way that David discovered why there was a famine in the land is because he fasted and prayed, and he sought the Lord until the Lord showed him what was wrong. Okay? So, though God would have warned the Israelites not to covenant, now that they had made a covenant, God expected them to honor it. And that's why there was a famine in the land. So, you can read about how King David chose to honor that covenant in that chapter. But let's just land the plane here. Have you ever given your word, made a promise or a covenant or a commitment to someone, and then later realized you didn't ask God about it? So, today, ask the Lord, what do you want me to do with this now? And if you are still in that situation, seek God's face and ask him what he says about it today. Have the courage to ask him, seek him, and find him. And when you get an answer, obey him. God bless you, church.